So if you make the main coil big enough, it'll go 160 all the way down to 10, right? You have to make yourself some coil taps. I mean, you could buy some if you know the tubing size. Otherwise, you just make them. Just take some metal, cut some strips. Just drill some holes in the end, and when you tighten down the screw at the end, it'll kind of form it to the tubing. That's all we do. Just something stupid, simple. And then you could move the taps for whatever band you want.
Yeah, I can figure that out. Plus, if I really need to, I could probably. Well, actually, I wouldn't need to weld anything, but I was thinking I could use some aluminum, but I don't want to use aluminum. I hate dealing with it. But yeah, it would be cool to get it to work on 160. Although I don't know that this antenna's got enough wire to really try and make it do that.
If you have enough coil on the main coil, you could probably match it. That's the beauty of those. But that's what I would recommend you do. I built like 3 or 4 of those. I just got a piece of wood. I still have the piece of wood over there on the top of the rack. Still got the capacitors. The coil's gone, but just got a, I don't know, I think it was a 2x6, and cut it down and just started bolting components down. Just messing around with it. If you use your VNA, you can find out real quick if you're there or not. But I mean, it's just a dead simple. The link coil provides 50 ohm feed point to the radio, and the main coil, that's going to tap the the impedance to the antenna. What's cool about it though is if you ever put some kind of an indication of balance, like lamps or neon bulbs or current meters or something, well then you can move the feed line tap onto the main coil and actually balance the current.
Yeah, I seen where they did that with neon bulbs. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. But I've got I don't know how many feet. I was gonna make a magnetic loop antenna out of it. It's from like a ice maker. Like the line for that. I saw it at Goodwill. It was like a couple of bucks, and it was like 10 or 15 feet of that. I don't know, is it quarter-inch or something? But like, and then I've got some other stuff that's bigger than that. I think it's like 3/8, and then I've got another piece over here that's definitely 3/8. So I've got some stuff laying around for sure for the coil part.
Well, I can help you, man. It's a really fun project. You learn a lot, and it works. And the reason why it works is that on the KW Matchbox you can't change the inductance. But on that thing, all you're gonna need is that coil that you're gonna wind yourself, and then you need a link couple, and you need a capacitor, and that's it. It's just dead simple, right? But because it's that big coil, you can tap that ladder line wherever you want on the coil, and you can change the inductance. And so, like what I did on mine is, you have to understand, if the thing is balanced, then there is no current and RF in the room. And so a lot of us just have these sitting on the table or the wall of the shack. If it's not balanced, then you will have RF in there with the room, with you. So what's nice is, like, I just got like a thing of Sharpies, colored Sharpies, and I just marked the coils for each band, 20, 40, 80, whatever, marked it, and then I could just move the taps.
Yeah, I was thinking of, that's why I kind of was like, well, I'm going to put it outside on the back porch on the table there, and then I could just hook the coax to the back of the thing, and that's what I actually did a couple days ago. I wanted to use the radio in the house. There's already coax going into the house. I just put the Johnson on the back out there on top of my table saw and hooked the coax to it. And I've already mapped out everything, like for 80, 40, and 20. I've already written down like where it needs to be for various different frequencies. Like I start at the bottom of the band, I go up 100K, maybe 50K if it's a specific frequency I'm going to use, and I find out from, I used the VNA, sat there and mapped it all out. So, and it behaves exactly the same as if it's hooked into the house, because it's still the same length of everything. The only difference is a different piece of coax is going to the input of it. So it actually is kind of cool, except for a lot of times why I'm in the house is because it's cold out here. So it's even colder outside. I don't really feel like fooling with it outside, but it's not a big deal. But I want to get into more projects and stuff and learn stuff, and that's why I bought that other thing too. But some of this stuff, it's like it's over my head. Some of it, like some of these radios, repairing them, it's over my head. But I think I'm kind of like average, as far as hams are concerned. I know a little bit more than the average ham, but not a lot.
Well, this is something you can definitely do. Just follow that link tomorrow. Type it into Google. Read that and look at photos of guys actually building the thing. You're gonna see, I mean, I hate to warn you, you're gonna see a lot of different versions of the thing, right? So sometimes they have, one big main coil. Sometimes they have two coils. It's split. I mean, but if you look at the basic schematic, I would probably start there. The other one that you could build, and that seems to be really popular today, is you would wind two coils with the copper tubing, and that's going to be one coil, one inductor for each side of the ladder line. So I don't know if you think maybe a foot long coils each side. You're going to somehow suspend those off of a wooden board, and then in the middle of those you're going to have a capacitor, and then that capacitor would then feed the radio and the amplifier or whatever. That's called a dual inductor tuner, and what you're doing there is you're splitting the current between each side. So you have full control, right? Because you got two inductors on each side of the thing. So if you find out that the left leg has more current than the right, you can move the coil taps, and then just move it down. That removes the link aspect of it. I really don't know if one is better than the other. That's kind of up in the air. But if you built the one, maybe you could build the other one later.
Yeah, I think that one would be really kind of interesting to try out, just because. And then definitely you would want to know whether or not it was balanced also, so you would need to add a few extra little things to it. But yeah, it's kind of like the ones that Gary is using, and except for their run with a stepper motor. But I'm not going to get that complicated.
Yeah, these are dead simple, man. It's something you can build on a board of wood and play around with them. I really enjoyed it. I really did. I built like 4 or 5 different types of tuners on that piece of wood, and it's really cool. I mean, you get it working, and you're running high power, and after you're done talking, you go over there and say, "Oh, holy crap, that's hot!" Why is this hot? Well, because it's inefficient, right? So let's work on that, and let's move this, let's retune that. Yeah, it's really cool. You can learn a lot.
Definitely. Wouldn't that be funny if that guy came back here, like, next week and on a 710? I knew right away when he was talking he was on a 991 or something like that.
Well, I mean, it's just an incredible price. I mean, I was shocked when you sent me that last night. I was just like, oh my gosh, $899 for that radio. I mean, it's just a wild time to be alive, really. I mean, you look up the performance on the Sherwood site and you're just shaking your head. It's like, wow, that is a lot of radio for $900.
I honestly really think that you should buy one just so you can play around with it. And I guarantee you, if you decide you don't like it, somebody will buy it from you for $800. That's a fact.
Yeah, if I bought it, I don't need to sell it. I just keep it. Just be another tool in the shack here. But yeah, I was tempted, and then you said you don't need it, and I was like, you know what? He's right. I don't need it. It's just there's absolutely no point. Honestly, though, the one that got me is I wanted that 101D for quite a while, and they were when they first came out, they were 4,300, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, then they came down to like 3,600, and I thought, I don't know, I'm tempted. And then when you sent that to me and it said $27.99, it was really, really hard.
Oh, well, if that's what you want, I mean, I didn't see the price on that, but yeah, I know what they were. That is actually probably the best we're going to see on that thing, probably ever.
$27.99 for the D model, 200 watts. I mean, I was just like, what the heck? It was really, really hard for me not to buy that. And I sat there for a while. I thought, Bram, I don't need it, right? I've got the 2000D here. I've got the scope on it with the monitor and everything, and all the tuning units sitting next to it. I mean, I just don't need it, but I kind of want it.
Well, I'm sure of this, that this radio has better noise reduction than what you're on right now, no matter what you do. I don't know about the 101, but this one definitely does. I have never seen one that works this well without sounding like it's underwater.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think on the Sherwood, this 2000D is hot rodded a little bit. I have the Network Sciences filter in it, and I have some other mods done to the filter selection. So it's better than a standard 2000D, but no, absolutely not. If you put this receiver up against that 710, that 710 is gonna blow this thing away, and that's what's crazy, right? It's $899, and it blows this thing away on receiver. It's just nuts.
I'm looking at the band right now, and I'm looking at like 3.3 megahertz all the way up to like 4.57. It goes 1,000K on the bandwidth. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's 3.3 to 4.3. I mean, you don't even need it that big, because now you're looking at shortwave.
External band scope. It's not that far. I mean, it's just nuts. The receiver performance. You have to also think: do you need it? Do I need it? No, I don't need the performance. But it's just crazy. It's just like, here's the 2000D with the DMU and the scope and all the tuning units and all this crap sitting here. It could be replaced by one little radio.
Yeah, I don't think it's kind of like that where you're not going to buy it to replace something, because, a lot of the radios that we like to use, they're fun to use, and, also kind of one of the things that I don't like about the 710 is it is a small little radio, I would rather have a large radio. The one I really, really like, just for looks, is the 7610. I like the way that thing looks. The screen on it is pretty big, and it just looks really cool. And I like the way it looks better than the 101. but I don't trust it because I know lots of guys that have had them for a couple years and had the display go out.
The 7610 is a great radio, but again, it's a radio that has been superseded by newer technology. That's the problem. And I mean, I'm not knocking the 7300 or the 7610 or any of them, but it happens to all of them, right? Yaesu came out and they absolutely blasted those away. So, if you're an actual DXer or really concerned about the receiver performance, I mean, I can't see anyone buying one of those, because even the DX10 absolutely destroys that receiver. But, again, it's what you like.
I think they're all buying K4s, the DX guys.
K4 is killer. Yeah, that's an awesome radio. Normally I wouldn't say anything. I don't really like Elecraft, but they kind of redeemed themselves. That's an awesome radio. I mean, no two ways about it. Dave has one. I've been over there. I sat in front of it. It's just awesome. Everyone I've ever heard, they just sound incredible.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day on one, and then there's a guy I've worked a bunch of times in Belize on 10-meter mobile, and that's what he was using. And what he was saying, too, though, is he said right now, he said if it was, somebody else and he was new, he would buy a used K3. He said because the K3s are like $1,000 or less. And he said he's had one before, and he has a K4. And, I don't think I've ever seen a K3 for sale. Have you?
Yeah, I really don't like those, man. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody. It's a great radio. It's a CW guy's radio. It's got an old style display. You have to remember, man. That K3 and the K3 line, that came out like 2008, right? So, yeah, they've upgraded it over the years, but Bram, I mean, honestly, man, in 2008, 2009, you could have had the K3 with the band scope sitting next to it, the amplifier and all that. I mean, it's just old. I'm not saying it's a bad radio. It's just it's not what I would consider it in 2023.
Didn't they have another one that was a K3S, which was kind of a hybrid?
Yeah. No, they upgraded over the years, and like I said, it's not a bad radio. I mean, if you got one cheap tomorrow, I'm sure it'd be fine. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not in the contender. I mean, I think at that point I would just buy a 7300 or a 710. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's not a contender.
Yeah. I was thinking that there was some other radio in between the K4 and that one, but now that you mentioned it, I know exactly which one it is. It kind of looks ICOM-ish. It looks like an ICOM 718 display.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's a nice radio. I'm not discounting the fact that it's a nice radio and people love them, but it's just not something that I would be interested in. I mean, if I was on a budget right now in 2023, the 710 is absolutely the best value. It's incredible. It beats all of the old radios you wish you had on the receiver side. If you had a little bit more money in your pocket, the DX10, that's an incredible value. You get some filters in the front end of the thing. I mean, man, you're like number 3 on the Sherwood scale with that. And then where can we go from here? Well, the 101 or the 101 MP.
Yeah. Well, one only thing I can say that's sort of strange about this radio, and I don't know if the 7300 did it, but if you listen on this radio while you're transmitting on another radio on sideband, there's latency. but you won't hear it on AM or FM, just on sideband.
I don't hear anything.
No. Like if well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's like a slight amount. So if I'm testing another radio and I'm monitoring on this one, I can't do it. It'll drive me nuts. There's a little bit of latency. It's not like SDR latency. It's about a quarter of that, but I can hear it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that may be normal, but yeah, I'm trying to think if that would ever be a problem. But yeah, it has to process.
Yeah, so I don't recall that happening with the 7300, but then again, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've had one. And maybe it does it too, and I just didn't notice it, you know. But I test radios pretty frequently, so what I've noticed about certain radios too, you'll use them to try and monitor, and like this 756 Pro is a good example. It's absolutely horrible because it's shielded so well, and if you don't have coax hooked to it, it really doesn't pick up your signal accurately if you're way across the room.
Yeah, I mean, those old icons were pretty good, man. You know, I ran one, I ran one of those 756 Pros for like 10 years.
It's still really one of my favorite radios, and I still wouldn't say no to a Pro 2 or Pro 3 for the right price.
That stupid perimeter sensor is still going off. Just driving everybody in the house crazy. Let me go see if I can do something about it. I'll be right back.
All right, KG7H3.